হইবার কালে গুরু পদে প্রেম ভক্তি হইল নাম হইবার কালে ওরে হইল নামর সাধন ভজন অনুরাগে সময় গেলে।
Welcome to my new discussion, Philosophy of Baul, dedicated to Baul Samrat Purnodas Baul, presented by Feel for Philosophy.
You know, when you think of a wandering mystic from Bengal, you probably picture something very specific, right? Saffron robes, a single-stringed instrument, someone lost in a song of wild, ecstatic joy. That's the Baul. But behind that iconic image, there's a whole world that's deep, complex, and sometimes very secret. So let's go on a journey together and peel back the layers to really uncover who the Bauls are. Now get this. That quote is from Rabindranath Tagore, a Nobel Prize winner, one of the greatest poets the world has ever seen. He was so deeply moved by the Bauls that he basically said he wanted to become one. It makes you wonder, right? What is it about this tradition that could captivate a mind like his? What secrets are hiding in their songs that made him want to be a madcap Baul? Okay, so let's start with that image we all know. The Baul is the ultimate wandering minstrel. They're journeying from village to village, dancing in what looks like pure ecstasy, and singing these incredible songs of love. And they're often just holding an ektara, that iconic single-string instrument. I mean, they really do represent the very soul of Bengali folk culture. But what are those enchanting songs really about? This is where we start to peel back that first layer. Because the music, it's not just for entertainment. Oh no. It's a vehicle for a pretty radical philosophy. One that's all about finding the divine, not in some faraway temple, but right inside your own body. So this philosophy, it's built on a few really powerful ideas. The Bauls believe in a universal love that just blows past any social or religious divisions. They reject all the orthodox rituals and dogma. They basically ask, why do you need an external temple or a church when the human body itself is the ultimate sacred space? And right at the heart of their quest is this concept called the Moner Manush, or the man of the heart. Now, this is not some distant god up in the sky, not at all. It's the divine spirit that they believe lives within every single person. The entire Baul journey, their whole life, is an internal search to find and unite with this divinity inside. And honestly, this is what makes their path so incredibly revolutionary. Just think about it. While so many traditions look outward, to temples, to scriptures, and sometimes even view the body as an obstacle to enlightenment, the Bauls turn completely inward. For them, the body isn't some distraction. It's the address. It's the very location of the divine. Okay, so if the big goal is to find God within your body, how do you actually do it? Well, this question takes us to a much deeper, much more secret layer of the tradition, because it turns out the songs aren't just expressions of philosophy. They're often coded instructions like a secret map for very specific spiritual practices. They do this using something called Sanja Bhasha, which translates to twilight language, and it's exactly what it sounds like, a deliberately symbolic and ambiguous code. Words have these double meanings. A song might mention a river, but it's really referring to the female body. A boatman might symbolize the senses. This coded language was designed to protect the sacred practices from anyone who wasn't initiated. This secret practice is called sadhana. And let me be clear, this is not a casual thing. It's a highly disciplined path. We're talking about complex yogic and tantric techniques, practices that use the body's own energy for spiritual realization. And it's all done under the guidance of a guru. This, right here, is the absolute heart of the Baul tradition. And this spiritual journey isn't random at all. It's actually very structured. A practitioner moves through these distinct stages. You start at the beginning, this initial phase of learning. Then you move into the deep practice of a sadhaka. And finally, you work towards the stage of perfection and spiritual attainment, which is known as siddhi. One of their key techniques is actually why they're sometimes called wind catchers. It's because they're masters of something called Vyākula, which is the yogic art of controlling the breath or the vital air. The goal here is to channel this energy upwards through the body to awaken dormant spiritual power. It's a practice that's pretty similar to what other traditions might call activating the kundalini. But what happens when a secret, ancient, oral tradition suddenly gets discovered by the rest of the world. This brings us to the modern era and to the central conflict facing the Bauls today. It's a clash between their deep spiritual practice and the intense pressures of globalization. You can pretty much pinpoint the turning point to the year 2005. That's when UNESCO's declaration brought them this incredible, unbelievable global fame. And suddenly, the Bauls were on the world stage. Now, while this was amazing for helping preserve the tradition, it also brought this intense pressure to perform, to commercialize, and to adapt for a brand new global audience. And you can see this change so clearly just by looking at the lyrics. It's jarring. A traditional song might be this deep reflection on the salvation of the soul. A modern one, well, it might be about getting a wrong number on your mobile phone. That profound spiritual depth is often being replaced by commentary on everyday modern life. This pressure shows up in really specific ways. Artists feel like they have to use catchy words, add in westernized melodies, and create faster, more danceable tracks for a global market. For many, the focus has really shifted from that inner world of sadhana to the outer world of recording albums and going on tour. So, all of this has sparked a really fierce debate inside the community itself. It's a debate that cuts right to the very core of their identity, and it boils down to this. In this new, globalized world, what does it actually mean to be an authentic Baul? To really get this debate, it helps to know the categories people talk about. First, you have the Sadhak Baul. That's the spiritual practitioner who's focused on sadhana. Then there's the Gayak Baul, the professional performer who's focused on entertainment. And finally, you have the Soccer Baul, who's more of a hobbyist. The real problem is that the lines between these are getting blurrier and blurrier, and that's causing some serious tension. The deepest fear, especially among traditionalists, is the rise of what they call fake Bauls. They're talking about people who adopt the robes, they pick up the instrument, they look the part, but they completely lack the rigorous spiritual discipline that's at the core of it all. They see it as a hollow performance, something designed to attract foreign audiences and money, and they're terrified it's going to erase the tradition's true meaning. But this fear of losing authenticity, it's not actually new. Decades ago, a great scholar described the legendary guru Nibbani Das as the last real true Baul. This just goes to show you that there's been this long-standing anxiety that the profound spiritual core of the tradition is always at risk of just disappearing. And that really brings us to the final critical question here. When a tradition that was built on secrecy and deep inner practice is suddenly thrust onto the world stage, can its esoteric soul actually survive the spotlight of fame and commerce? That, right there, is the challenge the Bauls are facing today.
Guru pade prem bhakti hoilo namo hoibar ka.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support encourages me to create more content. Thank you.